Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 105 of Show Fever. Today we'll be going over episode 5 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Now, this episode started off exactly where the last one left off. We see as Jin is in a headlock with a machete on his throat by Yuru, and ultimately Yuru ends up letting him free because Yuru realizes or mentions how Jin did not have intent to kill him when they first kind of fought, and he did not have intent. Yuru didn't have intent to kill Jin because he just left a shallow cut on his Achilles so he could just capture him and hold him there. Yeah, so we see this kind of brief discussion go about, and ultimately they negotiate for Yuru to end up meeting with Asa. Now, Jin reveals that he would not be taking Asa to that garage area because it's too dangerous because of the possibility of Higashi Village agents coming and acquiring them. But yeah, so ultimately they end up discussing this out, which you kind of learn a little bit more about the goons that Jin has with him. One of them's name is Akoi? Yeah, Akoi, Akoi, I guess. But yeah, and he has a very massive Daemon because we actually didn't see him as Daemon in the previous episode, but it's so big they couldn't even fit in the garage. And then we just see once again the other ones, two Daemons, which are the rabbit and the hare. The actual name of this episode is Tortoise and Hare. But yeah, then we learned the actual names of. We already knew the names of one of Jin's Daemons, which was I. But we also learned the other one's name, which is Makoto. Now, I is a scavenger. It consumes everything in the area, and then Makoto is the one who reproduces it, like the storeroom in Kagurabachi, like I said last episode. But yeah, so ultimately they negotiate, and they decide to go to the Kagamori clan headquarters. And ultimately, everyone goes along with this, and they start heading towards that way. And then it's revealed to Asa by Jin that the Kagamoris, that Yuru and them will be coming to the Kagamoris' place, and she starts getting really excited because she's been wanting to see Yuru for a while, not for a long time. She's wanting to be reunited, and she's telling Gabi and Gabriel and all that. But yeah, so then we also get to see briefly a slight glimpse at the Kagamori head. His name, they call him the Master, but I presume he's the head of the Kagamori clan, and we see that. We actually get a brief glimpse at his Daemons, but they're not named, nor do we see their powers, because he's just chilling in an onsen when he's called by Jin on the way there. But yeah, so then they're heading that way, and ultimately they end up pulling up at the Kagamori clan establishment, where Yuru comes, not really Yuru, but Asa comes running out to meet up with Yuru. Actually, this doesn't happen. Well, first, they actually encounter a person by the name of Kagemori Asuma, or Asuma Kagemori. And he seems very suspicious. They obviously don't like him. Jin and his fellow members do not ultimately like Asuma. So I presume there's probably something going on with Asuma. Asuma is probably some possible double agent or something like that. But yeah, so after that we see as Asa sees that they are there, and she comes running in and starts talking with Yuru, and she's obviously very excited to see him. She's like very, very hyper. She's asking if she can hug him, and Yuru's like, no, you can't do that, because he's still kind of skeptical about her being the real Asa or not. But yeah, so they kind of talk briefly and all that, just discuss things and how they're generally going, what all happened, and how Jin got injured and all that. But yeah, so ultimately after that, they end up taking Jin to the infirmary, and then we get a glimpse at this perspective of Dara, and Hana, and we see that the dog, I can't remember what the dog's name was, but he ended up getting to the Kagamori headquarters and then relaying that location to Hana and Dara via that little cat dude. And they realize that, he's at the Kagamori residence after doing some searching, and they ultimately deduce that Dara is going to go and try and save Yuru, even though he's not in harm, because they actually don't know that Hana is associated with him yet. So Dara's going to send himself in because he is already known to be an associate of Yuru and Higashi Village. But yeah, so that's kind of all we get to see from them. But then we go back to the perspective of Yuru, Jin, and Asa, and crew, I guess. And we see as Jin just kind of getting wrapped up in all of that, and we see as he returns Asa's blood to the doctor, and we see that Asa actually had allowed her blood to be drawn, and it wasn't involuntary because she wanted to lure Yuru in. And we kind of see as this plays out. They have some brief discussion stuff, and we actually get to learn about what happened to Yuru and Asa's parents and why they're not in Kagemori clan headquarters area. And it's revealed that after the escape, the family had briefly stayed with the Kagemori clan, and they left Asa with them when they were planning to go back to their mother's, or Yuru and Asa's mother's, homeland, because she was actually not from Higashi Village. Her father was, their father was, but she was not. She was actually from Okinawa originally. So Yuru and Asa's father and mother ultimately went on a trip to Okinawa, but on the way there, they just suddenly disappeared, along with the bodyguard who was a Daemon wielder as well, or a seer. So it is not known what happened to them. But yeah, so we see this, and they're kind of talking some more, discussing things around that premise. And we then get to a shot outside of the headquarters, and we see as people, but entities are discussing the powers of Asa and Yuru. And they're mentioning how Yuru is more powerful at night, but Asa is not, because Asa is the daylight twin and Yuru is the night. And so this is briefly discussed, and they mention how Yuru can die, but they just need Asa's head. So we presume this is either agents from Higashi Village, because it was briefly discussed about the Daemon Hunter who was with their mother and father could have possibly been a Higashi Village double agent, but they don't know, so they can't really put blame on him. But yeah, so, and we see this being discussed, and obviously they have a need for one of the twins for some reason. So I wonder if there's something special about Asa, or if maybe they just want her specifically for her power, because each of them have distinct powers. But yeah, so we see this, and then the raid begins. We see as like a yin and yang beast bust through the wall in the infirmary, and everyone starts kind of running away. And then we see as Gabi and Gabriel are not assaulted, but like not pursued. They encounter two Daemons that are like, one of them legit looks like when Shao Tucker's daughter got turned into the Chimera with the dog. Like it is kind of creepy looking, and the other one's kind of similar. It kind of reminded me of crap. It's not Envy. Is it Envy? Sloth, Envy, Lust. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think it was Envy, the one that Colonel Mustang burned to death. That one. It kind of had like similar hair to that, so I actually kind of like that. Kind of, I don't know if it was a reference, but it kind of reminded me of a Full Metal Alchemist reference. But yeah, so we get to see this, and she ends up bringing Gabriel up to full size, and then we actually don't get to see a fight with them. But yeah, as they're getting pursued, ultimately, Yuru asks Jin to use Makoto to produce a bow and arrow, since that is his weapon of choice, and ultimately he does this, and then we see as Yuru shoots an arrow at the yin and yang beast, and this is kind of where the episode ends. Now, I forgot to mention, but prior to this, they were running away from it, and they mentioned how this Daemon likely does not have a wielder, and they state how that once a Daemon's master dies, the Daemon becomes restricted to one spot, and if no one comes to claim them over a certain period of time, I believe it was about 100 years, then they will fade away, and that's why Daemons tend to protect their masters, so they do not become like a stray Daemon and stuck to one spot, something like a ghost with a haunting. And so they can continue to exist and not fade away. But yeah, that's what was kind of discussed in the latter part. But yeah, this episode was really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. And I mean, Daemons of the Shadow Realm just continues to be a great anime. Like, I don't know how more people are on it, because I've heard no one discuss this anime. And it's great. Like, but, I mean, I don't know. I love it, and I love how similar not how similar it is to Full Metal Alchemist, but like how the art style is similar, and how like kind of the comedy and stuff, but also mixed in with very like serious moments is mixed in. Like, it's a perfect like amalgamation. But yeah, that's all that really was for episode 5 of Daemons of the Shadow Realm. That's all I really have for episode 105 of Show Reviews. So thank you very much for watching.